The afternoon sun was sharp, beating down on the streets outside the tall, glass-fronted office of Anderson Enterprises. The city hummed with the usual rush of commuters, delivery trucks, and the occasional honking of impatient drivers. Yet, in the middle of all this movement, a boy sat alone on the curb, his knees pulled up to his chest, staring blankly at the polished doors of the company building. His clothes were simple, slightly worn, but clean, and his eyes held a determined gleam, despite the dust and grime of the street. Just as the boy began to nod off, lulled by the warmth of the sun, and the lull of the bustling city, a figure appeared suddenly, rushing over with the force of someone used to authority. It was the safety shield, one of the company's security officers. In his hand was a bottle of water, which he flung toward the boy with the precision of someone who had done this many times before. "Good day, kid. Hurry up," the guard shouted. Startled, the boy sat up sharply, wiping the corner of his eye. "Sir, I am here seeking out my lady friend," he said, his voice steady, though tinged with nervous excitement. From inside the building, the boss and the secretary had been passing by the entrance, and their attention was immediately drawn to the commotion. Slowly, they strolled forward, eyes narrowing with curiosity. "Defend," the boss said, his tone sharp. "I don't care where your lady friend works. What's going on here?" Before the boy could answer, the safety shield interjected. "Sir, this guy has been sitting at the front gate of the company for a whole month, day after day. Rain, sun, nothing stops him." The boy looked nervously at the boss, bowing slightly. Are you the boss of this company?" he asked cautiously. "Yes, I am," the boss replied, raising an eyebrow. "Sir, please don't misunderstand me," the boy said quickly. "I am sincerely here to locate my female friend. That is all. Nothing more." The boss paused, studying the boy carefully, then leaned slightly forward. "Are you sure your lady friend's name is Holly Lewis?" The boy's eyes lit up with certainty. "Yes, boss. I'm absolutely sure. Holly Lewis is our organization's senior manager, and she is supposed to marry Mr. Anderson." The words hit the boss like a sudden gust of wind. "Wait. What? Marry the boss?" "Yes," the boy replied without hesitation, reaching into his pocket and pulling out his phone. "However, she is my lady friend." The boy swiped his phone, turning the screen toward the boss and secretary. It displayed a clear, smiling image of a young woman, Holly Lewis herself. The secretary gasped softly, glancing at the boss with wide eyes. "Boss, this absolutely is our company executive, Holly Lewis." The boss leaned closer to the image, scrutinizing every detail. "Are you certain the entire story you're telling me is true, youngster?" he asked, voice low, cautious but intrigued. "Truly, boss. Holly Lewis is definitely my lady friend," the boy confirmed, his tone unwavering. The boss nodded slowly, making a decision. "All right, younger man. I'll call her immediately." He fished his phone from his pocket, his fingers moving with practiced speed, and dialed Holly's number. A few rings later, her voice came through. "Hiya, Holly Lewis speaking." "Howdy, darling. What's wrong?" the boy heard the boss ask, though his tone was unusually controlled. "I'm out shopping," Holly replied, her voice calm with a hint of curiosity. "Come to the company at once," the boss ordered. "What's the problem?" Holly asked, her brow furrowing slightly. "I won't stand a single day without seeing you," the boss said firmly. Turning back to the boy, the boss gestured toward the office. "Take a seat in my workplace and tell me, what do you do?" "What?" The boy straightened in his chair, trying to project confidence. "I write initiatives, plans, proposals. I've written many, even for some massive companies." The boss leaned back, intrigued. "Which plan did you write?" The boy's lips curved into a faint smile. "The one that's very well known nowadays. Mini Mop." The boss's eyes widened slightly. "Are you certain?" "Yes, boss." the boy replied. He pulled a neatly folded document from his bag, smoothing it across the table in front of him. This plan, I wrote it. The boss studied the pages carefully, flipping through charts, notes, and projections. He glanced at the boy. Explain everything, young man. I want to hear the whole thing. The boy nodded, ready to share. But just then, the office door opened and Holly Lewis herself walked in. She carried a shopping bag in one hand and wore a light, elegant coat, her presence commanding the room immediately. Holly, darling, why did you call me in such a hurry? She asked, voice calm but tinged with curiosity. The boss didn't answer immediately. Instead, he fixed his gaze on Holly. Do you understand this, young guy? He asked. Holly turned her face slightly, trying to hide her surprise. No, I don't know him, boss, she replied, her voice steady but cautious. Then who wrote this plan? The boss asked, holding up the mini-mop document. Holly blinked, slightly confused. I thought I wrote it, she said slowly. When we meet the client tomorrow, I'll promote the product. But without this plan? The boss's patience snapped. Enough! This plan was written by this young guy here. Holly's eyes widened in shock. Darling, don't say that. He's just a countryside boy. The boss's expression hardened. Who are you calling a villager? I don't want someone like you undermining the company. Get out, Holly Lewis, get out! Holly's cheeks flushed with anger and disbelief. You're firing me because of this boy? She asked, her voice trembling. The boss turned to the boy, a rare smile appearing on his face. From today, you will be part of our company, he said simply. The boy's heart raced, a mix of excitement and disbelief. He could hardly believe that after a month of waiting outside, his life was about to change in ways he had only dreamed of. The boy sat in the boss's office, still processing the whirlwind of events. One moment, he had been a nameless figure on the curb outside the company, and the next, he was being welcomed into one of the most prestigious organizations in the city. His mind raced, trying to grasp the reality of it all. The office around him was immaculate, every surface polished, every document neatly stacked, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee lingered in the air. The boss leaned back in his leather chair, his eyes studying the boy with an intensity that made the young man shift slightly in his seat. Now, the boss began, voice firm but not unkind, I want to know everything about you. How did you come to write the mini-mop plan? How did a countryside boy manage to get his hands on a corporate-level project? The boy swallowed, collecting his thoughts. Sir, I grew up in a small village. My family couldn't afford much, but I always loved reading and writing. When I was old enough, I started taking on small projects for local businesses, helping them with proposals, advertisements, and ideas. One thing led to another. I submitted some ideas online, and that's how the mini-mop plan reached the right people. Eventually, it got noticed. The boss nodded slowly. Impressive. But one question remains. Why sit outside the company gate for a month? Why not reach out through official channels? The boy's gaze dropped for a moment. Sir, I wanted to see her. Holly, my lady friend. I didn't want emails or calls. I wanted to be honest. If she truly belonged in my life, she would recognize me. That's why I waited. The boss leaned back, his expression thoughtful. You've shown persistence, courage, and skill. Qualities we value here. Holly, you understand now why I called you in, right? Holly, standing stiffly, crossed her arms. Yes, I understand, boss. But I still don't see why a countryside boy gets credit for work that I've been presenting for months. How does that make sense? The boss looked at her firmly. Because he wrote it, Holly, not you. No matter your position, the truth matters. Do you understand? Holly's lips pressed into a thin line. She nodded reluctantly, her pride pricked, yet she could see the sincerity in the boy's eyes. Yes, I understand, she said quietly. The boy, still a little overwhelmed, nodded at Holly. "I never intended to take anything from you," he said softly. "I just wanted to do my work and find you." Holly looked at him, a mixture of surprise and something softer in her expression. She didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her with such honesty, especially not someone she barely knew. The boss broke the silence. "From today, you will be part of the company. Holly, you will work with him, guide him if necessary, but respect the fact that he wrote the plan. Understand?" Holly gave a small nod, still trying to process the situation. The boy looked between the two of them, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. He had stepped into a world so different from his own, and everything was moving faster than he had imagined. The next few days were a whirlwind for the boy. He was introduced to various departments, from marketing to finance, learning quickly about the inner workings of a major corporation. Every meeting, every discussion, tested his knowledge and creativity. And at the center of it all was Holly Lewis, the woman who had unknowingly been the reason for his persistence. At first, Holly was distant, professional, and even slightly cold. She watched him carefully, analyzing his every move. But as the days passed, she noticed something different about him. His ideas were fresh, insightful, and often better than some of the seasoned executives in the company. His understanding of market trends, consumer behavior, and innovative proposals impressed even the most skeptical of the team. One afternoon, the boss called both of them into his office. "We have a major client meeting tomorrow," he said, "and it's all thanks to the mini-mop plan. I want both of you to prepare. You'll present it together." The boy looked at Holly nervously. "Sir, will she accept me working alongside her?" The boss gave a small smile. "She will learn to respect your talent. That's all you need for now. Let her handle the rest." Holly, however, remained quiet. She couldn't deny the boy's skill, but her pride and previous assumptions about his background made her hesitant. I'll prepare," she said finally, her voice firm but tinged with unease. That evening, the boy stayed late in the office, poring over his notes, refining his presentation, and rehearsing every possible question the client might ask. Holly, too, stayed, working on her own part, and at one point, their eyes met across the table. There was a silent acknowledgement, a mutual understanding that something had shifted between them. For the boy, this was more than just a career opportunity. It was a chance to prove himself, to be recognized for his hard work, and to finally connect with the woman he had been seeking for so long. For Holly, it was a test of humility, perception, and perhaps the beginning of a new perspective on what truly mattered: talent, honesty, and character over appearances. As the office lights dimmed and the city outside grew quiet, both of them worked side by side, unaware that the events of tomorrow would change everything: relationships, careers, and the future of the company itself. The client meeting was about to begin. A presentation based on the mini-mop plan, which had unexpectedly become the centerpiece of the company's strategy. The boy arrived early, as always, with his notes meticulously organized. Holly Lewis was already in the conference room reviewing her slides, her expression one of careful concentration. She barely glanced up when the boy entered, but he caught a flicker of something, curiosity perhaps, or cautious respect, in her eyes. The boss arrived shortly after, carrying himself with the confidence of a man who knew exactly what was at stake. "Today is important," he said, his voice steady but carrying authority. "This plan could change how the client sees us, and I expect both of you to show the value of your work. Together." The boy nodded, swallowing a mix of nerves and excitement. He had worked for months, long before even coming to the company, on this plan. Now this was the moment to prove that dedication. Holly, on the other hand, seemed equally focused, her pride and responsibility pushing her to ensure the presentation went perfectly. When the client arrived, the tension in the room was palpable. The client, a well-known entrepreneur in the city, was direct, sharp, and used to seeing polished corporate presentations. As introductions were made, the boss gave a subtle nod to both of them. The boy took a deep breath, stepping forward first, while Holly followed closely. "Thank you for meeting with us today," the boy began, his voice clear and confident. "We have prepared a strategy that not only highlights your product but also identifies innovative ways to capture new markets." Holly seamlessly picked up where he left off, explaining detailed aspects of the implementation, visuals, and marketing strategies. She spoke with precision and authority, but there was a subtle acknowledgement in her tone that the ideas themselves were the boy's. Every chart, every slide, every recommendation he had made was presented flawlessly, yet Holly's delivery made it seem like a united effort. The client leaned forward, clearly impressed. "I have to say, this is well thought out. Who prepared this strategy?" The boss gestured to the boy. "He did, and she executed it brilliantly alongside him. Together they've created a comprehensive plan." The client turned to the boy, raising an eyebrow. "You wrote all this?" "Yes, sir," the boy replied humbly. "I've been working on proposals and projects for a long time, but this is one I'm particularly proud of." The client studied him for a long moment, then broke into a small smile. "It's rare to see this kind of dedication and insight, especially from someone so young. Excellent work." Holly glanced at the boy, a new respect shining in her eyes. She realized now that his talent and determination were undeniable. There was no room for doubt. No hierarchy could diminish the effort and skill he had brought to the table. By the end of the meeting, the client was thoroughly impressed. Not only did they approve the plan, but they also expressed interest in expanding it to additional products and markets, offering contracts that would secure the company's future for months to come. After the client left, the office seemed lighter, almost celebratory. The boss turned to both of them, a rare smile on his face. "Well done, both of you. You've exceeded expectations. This is the start of something big." The boy felt a swell of pride, but also relief. Holly approached him, her previous coldness replaced with a quiet acknowledgement. I owe you an apology," she said softly. "I judged you too quickly. Your work, it speaks for itself." The boy shook his head, smiling. "There's no need to apologize. I only wanted to do what I love and to see you. That was my goal all along." Holly smiled faintly, the corners of her eyes softening. "I can see that now, and I respect it. Truly." From that day forward, the boy became a recognized and respected member of Anderson Enterprises. Holly, having learned a lesson in humility and perception, began to view talent and character over appearances. Together, they worked on several successful projects, creating a synergy that the company had never seen before. The boss watched it all with satisfaction. What had started as a simple curiosity, a boy waiting outside the gate, had turned into a story of persistence, honesty, and the undeniable value of skill. Holly and the boy developed a mutual respect that in time deepened into a genuine friendship, perhaps hinting at something more, though neither rushed it. The office gates, once a place of waiting and uncertainty, now symbolized opportunity, determination, and the surprising ways in which life could reward patience and courage. The boy's journey from the street to the boardroom became a quiet legend within the company, a story told to new employees about the importance of talent, honesty, and never underestimating someone's heart. And as for Holly Lewis, she never again judged a person by where they came from. The boy, her lady friend, the countryside boy with unmatched determination, had proven that true capability and sincerity could overcome any boundary, and that sometimes the most unexpected people brought the greatest value to your life. The office lights dimmed that evening, but inside, a new chapter had begun. For the company, for Holly, and for the boy who had waited so patiently outside its gates. Drop a heart in comment. Like and subscribe my channel.